Hello and welcome to Terminator Month. Nader, it's a working title. Like a lot of you, I have had a fascination with these movies. From the first two entertaining and groundbreaking films to the other ones. But those first two films left such an impact, it's hard not to still be invested. Arguably Arnold's most famous role, the story of a killer machine arriving from the future, may not be the most mind-blowing, but the characters, stunts, action, and performances make it one of the most iconic. Often quoted, satirized, and paid homage to, the Terminator movies have inspired a lot in terms of effects, style, and overall attitude.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
You'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back.
You know how after Star Wars every film was doing something similar, or after the Marvel movies everybody was copying the same thing? The early Terminator films were the same. Suddenly, a lot of sci-fi was about stopping an evil future. Everybody had black coats and shades. Killer robots were suddenly all over the place. Most of them had that metallic blue tint. And by God, liquid metal practically ruled the 90s. But all this began with the little movie that killed, with James Cameron's original, The Terminator. Released in 1984 on a budget of only $6.5 million, Terminator was a surprise hit that surprised nobody more than its main villain, Schwarzenegger. He was originally called in to play Michael Biehn's role, as others were considered for the deadly machine, including Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and even O.J. Simpson, who was turned down because Cameron didn't believe he could be a convincing killer. When Cameron met Arnold, though, he instantly saw him in the role. Arnold was hesitant, though, because he didn't want to play an emotionless robot. He arguably had been playing that enough already. But he agreed, saying the film was underground enough that if it failed, it wouldn't hurt his rising star too much. Not only was it a hit, though, it was a hit that led to sequels, spin-offs, countless merchandise, and cemented Arnold as one of the most iconic movie stars of all time. But with so many years having gone by, does the film still hold up, or is it a case of the right audience at the right time? Well, let's take a look and see if this is still a sci-fi classic. This is The Terminator. We open in the very modelly looking future of 2029. Man, Biden's stimulus was too much. If you think that joke is instantly dated, take a listen to the opening music. So, one of the interesting things about the Terminator films is they're mostly timeless. There's little hints of the time period it was made in, of course, but for the most part, you can put on any of them and not guess right away when they were made. Except for this one. The 80s is dripping off this like a Reaganomics episode of He-Man. But it's surprisingly not a bad thing here. The part of the 80s being focused on is not as much the bright colors and upbeat songs, it's more the dark, gritty, rebelliously unshaven side you don't usually see as much in the 80s section of Halloween stores. It fittingly adds to the film's atmosphere rather than distracts. The opposite of flicks like...
What you listening to? New Kids on the Block.
We take place in the 80s!
Okay, God! Whoa, I'm a black guy in a film about a killer. I know what happens to me. Weather calls for 60% chance naked Austrians. Oh, I guess it's a 100% chance. Dude, he really was Mr. Universe.
Nice night for a walk, eh?
He approaches a street gang led by Cameron favorite Bill Paxton, who I think is challenging him to a gap-off.
Fuck you, asshole! Game over, man!
Not gonna lie, I always liked to think he went home and became Chet, making Weird Science an unofficial sequel. And I would argue the most diverse of the Terminator films.
This boy talking about on the telephone, man. What the goddamn, we know there's a telephone.
I wouldn't win that argument, but I'd make it just because it's funny. Once he gets covered up, another visitor from the future arrives, Kyle Reese, played by Michael Biehn. One of the things I immediately enjoy watching this again is how much like an 80s comic book it is. Sometimes it's a little jarring, like Arnold punches a guy and it awkwardly cuts to him just on the ground lifeless. But if you imagine the angles and cuts like comic book panels, it really captures that 80s style of, what's a good name for it? Dirty shadows. Yeah, I like that. Kind of sounds like a Tim Burton porno spoof.
Hey, buddy, did you just see a real bright light?
I smell someone stealing pants down here. No, seriously, how did this chase start? He gets away and we're introduced to Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton. She's a waitress who talks to restaurant statues.
Guard it for me, Big Bands.
So there's that. And she's being hunted by the Terminator, who, what is up with that jacket? I mean, I know it's the 80s, but that looks like a janitor uniform got surprise ironed by the Disco Stew coat. How is it people mock the glasses in 3, but this gets a free pass? Well, at least Soft borrows a ride. We're shown that Sarah doesn't exactly have the world's greatest job.
Look at it this way, in 100 years, who's gonna care?
I'll still feel bad about that ice cream thing. Strange thing to think about, being a skull.
The Terminator enters a gun shop ran by, oh, Dick Miller. That's nice. I rarely see him in cult 80s movies.
The Uzi 9mm.
You know your weapons, buddy. Any one of these is ideal for home defense.
You know, I've never owned a gun shop, but is it safe to show off your gun so close to the ammo? See you in Gremlins. He loads up and gets ready to axe off every Sarah Connor in the LA area.
Sarah Connor.
Yes?
Her day she was here. I'm Susan. In fact, no habla inglés. It doesn't take long to figure out there's a few less Sarah Connors in LA today.
Brutally shot to death in her home this afternoon. Once again, Sarah Connor, 35,
That's your name, dude.
mother of 2.
This doesn't bother her too much as she gets on her totally not Jetsons shirt. George has red hair, they're completely different people. And gets a phone call meant for her roommate.
First, I'm gonna rip the buttons off your blouse one by one.
Who is this?
Sarah?
I'm not gonna lie, as entertaining as this all is, I am just fascinated by the clothing choices in this movie. An Einstein tank top. It's like they're getting their wardrobe at the Goodwill for Goodwill.
Sarah Ann Connor, secretary, 35, shot 6 times.
Meanwhile, at the police station, a detective discusses the impressive pile of Sarah Connors adding up. He's played by Lance Hendrickson, who you may want to thank for this entire franchise. You see, one of the possible financiers didn't think the idea of the Terminator was very scary, so Cameron had Henriksen dress up like the character, kick open his door, and sit down at the guy's desk. When he asked if that scared him, he replied, "Hell yes," and agreed to the movie. Henriksen, of course, didn't play the part, but Cameron made it up to him by casting him as an android in Aliens. I'm sure he loved it.
So... better than mortal man deserves.
It's a look that says I should be helping a starship find whales. Gotta give credit, this is one of the few good fake-outs I've actually seen in a horror movie. It's legit creepy because the past women were killed at the door, but her roommate also has a date, so it works as a jump and totally legitimate reason for the scene to exist. Also, this is a little creepy. Dude, this isn't Baskin Robbins. You don't sample a woman and then pick another one. As much as I love that first fake-out though, this one seems a little silly. Oh, were we supposed to assume Arnold was dropping snacks for a minute? I thought he'd be on top of the fridge! He does end up taking her and the boyfriend out, only to discover neither of them were Sarah Connor.
Hi there. Fooled you. You're talking to a machine. It's okay. Machines need love too.
I had no idea you are romantic. If you're still alive, we could do it. Wait, what if I'm John's father?
Ginger, this is Sarah. Pick up if you're there.
Oh, I guess that makes more sense.
Sarah calls the police at a local club and finally gets through.
But I don't want to leave. I think there's a guy following me.
Don't go outside or even to the restroom. I'll have a car there in a hot minute.
Okay.
Sadly, a hot minute in California means 3 hours. Naturally, the Terminator finds her first and invites himself in. Don't worry, Lou. I'll get him by climbing up his ass. Seriously, where does she go? He spots her not exactly having the fastest reflexes, but Reese stops and tries to get her to safety.
Come with me if you want to live.
Stealing from Casper, low. Reese gets Sarah out, but the Terminator steals a cop car to chase them.
This is 1L19. Westbound and Olympic approaching Overland.
I did that well.
What's that, Rick?
Oh, you weren't supposed to hear that. Shoot yourself.
Well, okay, Rick, if you say so. They hide out in a parking garage as Reese explains he's there to protect her from the killer cyborg.
The Terminator's an infiltration unit. Microprocessor controlled.
We think he has Intel Pentium insides.
Flesh, skin, hair.
Austrian accent. It's designed to blend in. After several times trying to escape, Sarah finally goes along with what he's saying.
Can you stop it?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm from the future, and like 10 of these have been sent back, so I'm assuming it's possible. He lets her know that the reason she's targeted is because she'll be carrying a child who will grow up into the freedom fighter who will lead the resistance against the machines.
Defense network computers, trusted to run it all. They say it got smart. A new order of intelligence.
Look, just take this pamphlet, QAnon and You. It also talks about how the lizard people are on the rise. They lose him, but the real police show up, and Sarah says they're outgunned. And I'm sorry, why are people from the future always dumbasses?
Skynet had to wipe out his entire existence. Connor sent me to intercept, and they blew the whole place.
At least in something like 12 Monkeys, they clarify time travel can mess with you mentally. But in these films, there's always an idiot who thinks if they tell the truth, everyone will believe them. The only bit of fun comes from everybody's reaction to him.
I could make a career out of this guy. This is fucking great.
So Reese is crazy?
In technical terminology, he's a loon.
I believe the official term is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Sarah, this is what they call body armor. Our TAC guys wear these.
It stops bullets. Do you know what bullets are, Sarah? While the definition of mansplaining is explored, the Terminator fixes his eye at a nearby hotel. These effects are a little dated now, but given the time and budget they had, they're pretty mind-blowing. Creating a robotic head that's supposed to look human both close-up and in medium shots was pretty damn ambitious. And let's face it, it still looks better than a CGI rock.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor.
This is followed by him entering the station requesting to see Connor.
I'll be back.
Oh, now they're stealing from Last Action Hero. It's nothing sacred! Of course, this line wouldn't mean much if it didn't have a memorable follow-up. Sorry, sir. The drive-thru's in the back. He shoots up the place, but Reese escapes, helping Sarah get out alive. They hide under a bridge when their car runs out of gas.
Cold?
Freezing.
Being nighttime in LA, it is 70 degrees. He gives her his coat, and she mends his wounds as they make small talk.
Tell me about my son.
He has your eyes.
What's he like?
Grumpy. He likes to yell at DPs a lot.
What the fuck are you doing?
This triggers a kind of flashback. I mean, this does technically happen in the future, where he remembers surviving with one of the last armies of humans. They were very strict. This cracked me up the first time I saw it. So what's on the TV tonight? It's always fire! Ooh, a Demolition Man dinner. He looks over a picture of Connor just before a Terminator breaks in and shoots up the place, causing the picture to burn. So, I'm kinda torn on this because these scenes are almost pointless. What I mean is, the picture is important because it shows time is a never-ending loop by the end. Which granted is nuked pretty fast in the sequels, but a part of me thinks the films would have been creepier if we never saw the future. If it was just these two chasing each other, we saw the machine at the end, and we had to put together what the future looks like just based on this image, our imaginations could fill in how terrifying it could be. However, with the semi-low budget look, showing the future does help legitimize it a bit. No matter how convincing Bien is, it could still come across as cheap if Armageddon was only based on his performance. It's a moot point because you have to see it in the sequels anyway, but I always wondered if it would be scarier if the future was never seen. Then again, it does distract from odd lines like this.
I was dreaming about dogs.
We use them to spot Terminators.
And we occasionally watch them instead of TV, though sometimes the fire really was on fire. Just as they find themselves a motel, the Terminator is leaving his, leading to easily the funniest scene in the movie.
Got a dead cat in there or what?
Fuck you, asshole.
It's a special moment when you find someone else who also uses that as their ringtone.
Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole. Fuck.
Hello? You were calling just to make that joke work? Thank you. Sarah can't help but wonder, though, is there a Mrs. Come With Me If You Want to Live?
Was there someone special?
Someone?
A girl, you know?
No.
They could never get over my fake scar falling off. Good luck not noticing that every time you watch this scene.
John Connor gave me a picture of you once. I came across time for you, Sarah. I love you. I always have.
So their romance is a bit sporadic. They've only known each other for a day and he's already confessing his love.
I love you. I always have.
We shall be married in the morning.
But the adrenaline of the situation, I guess, kind of fuels it, though looking at a picture every day saying one day I'm gonna bang my commander's mother still comes across as a strange meet-cute. They share a night of passion, but the Terminator finds them pretending to be Sarah's mother.
I love you too, sweetheart.
To be fair, a lot of women think their mothers are emotionless machines. However, they steal a car to escape, outwitting him. The Terminator steals the truck to try and run him over, but they throw a bomb into the tailpipe, blowing up the rear projection. One of the great things about Cameron movies is they often have a surprise climax. And it arguably started with Terminator, as it really feels like the fight is over. They even showed off what you would assume was left of their effects budget. But that just makes it all the more terrifying when this happens.
No way out. No way out. No way out.
It's freaky as hell when you discover not only is it not dead, but it's a metal skeleton with an evil brow. An evil brow like one of the skeletons from Army of Darkness. What kind of sicko machines would put that on there? Though, okay, the stop motion does take down the fear factor a little bit. I love the creepy movement stop motion usually has, but this moves like Jack Skellington just discovered eggnog. It's a little silly looking.
Have you heard the good news? Skynet saves. You replaced my penis, how kind. Mine didn't do that. Usually.
I'm getting the feeling of coming in the gym, I'm getting the feeling of coming at home, so I'm coming day and night.
Thus begins the Michael Biehn death curse. Don't worry, Mikey, people will know you beat Sean Bean's record someday. But even then, the machine's not dead.
I'll bite your legs off!
You're a terminated fucker.
She finally gets him in just the right spot and smashes him flat.
All right, we'll call it a draw.
As you probably put together, Sarah is now pregnant with Reese's son, who will be the savior of the future, and, well, there just aren't that many mommy books about that.
What did he just say?
He says even though he's 4'0", he's somehow got a high-angle picture of you.
He said there's a storm coming in.
I know.
It's the box office returns for Dark Fate. And that was The Terminator. It's very 80s, but it's very awesome. When you consider one of the most expensive films of that decade was Rambo 3 at $63 million, and this only cost $6.5 million, it's amazing this film turned out as well as it did. I have no problem believing Arnold is a killer machine. Cameron even said the accent added an almost synthesized quality, like the machines hadn't quite gotten the voice thing figured out. The characters aren't Shakespeare, but they're likable enough. Plus, there's so many quotable lines, suspenseful moments, and unforgettable imagery. If T2 is the Fury Road of the series, this is certainly the original Mad Max. More gritty and low budget, but going above and beyond with what they had. Can it be corny? Sure, but that's part of the fun. And it balances out with the more gory and intense moments. It has the charm of a low-budget passion project, but the feel of a big-budget Hollywood epic. It's one of a kind and deserves to be looked at if you haven't already. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and Term Month Nader Month Day has just begun! Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it's you don't have to. Apologies, you've caught me in the middle of kind of an embarrassing therapy session.
Now, Critic, there's nothing wrong with therapy.
But this just seems so silly.
Critic, as the world's most sought-after first world problem psychiatrist, I've heard it all.
Dr. Pity, your 5 o'clock says her best friend didn't like her Instagram post.
Tell her that's a Class 2 emergency. I'm only taking Class 3s for now.
I just have what seems like a little problem, but I just know I'm blowing it out of proportion.
Dr. Pity, your 6 o'clock says a Starbucks barista got his name wrong.
Move him up to 4.
How do you deal with something like this?
Well, have you portrayed yourself as both the hero and the victim?
Yes.
Have you complained on social media instead of talking to friends?
Of course.
Have you declared your life as just like that drama Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes, I've done all of that.
Dr. Pity, your 2 o'clock says they saw a black person in the park.
And?
That's it.
Tell her to drink a bottle of Raid and all will be right with the world.
Doctor, is there any hope for me?
Well, I don't think you've said yet what the actual problem is.
Oh, yes, of course, sorry. You see, I started Terminator Month, and Terminator 2 might be too perfect a movie for me to critique.
Did you hear that prescription of Raid I gave earlier?
Yeah.
So you probably wouldn't fall for that.
I'm gonna say no.
Ah.
There's a bit of a stigma against action movies. Oh, not from the general public, they're popular as hell. I'm talking about with critics and film historians. While everyone agrees they're often a lot of fun, they're not given much attention as great art. There are some that break the mold, pushing complex stories and characters, but for the most part, action films are seen as just an enjoyable waste of time. This is a shame because 1991's Terminator 2 Judgment Day is about as flawless an action film as you can get. Big on mind-blowing ideas? Not especially. Characters as complex as Tennessee Williams? I wouldn't go that far. But think of comedies that Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin did. Some are deep and meaningful, but others just give people a good time in the most spectacular way, and they're hailed as classics. Terminator 2 is a classic in the same way. It pushes the envelope not just in technology, but also stunts, imagination, and clever storytelling. It's one of those films that's hard to find anything wrong with it. And this is a movie that stars the Jingle All the Way guy as an intimidating killing machine, with an accent nobody ever questions. I enjoy using comedy as a means to review something because I think it can offer a unique and interesting point of view. But I'm not gonna lie, it's gotta be tricky using comedy to review something that I think is virtually flawless.
Well, critic, the answer is clear. Just do your best to review it.
You think so?
Yes. If it doesn't work, the internet is always open and kind. I'm sure they'll forgive you.
That's true. I did underestimate the loving nature of online culture.
So give it your best and never call here again.
Will do, Doctor.
Dr. Pity, your 1 o'clock says he had to make small talk and didn't know what to talk about.
Cancel all my appointments. I'll see him right away.
Yes, Doctor.
Hello? I'm listening.
She said she never saw any of my movies. I didn't know what to do.
Let's take a look at what I consider an action masterpiece. This is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The film opens familiarly enough with the future still being in ashes. I think this film had a bit more of a budget than $6.5 million this time.
3 billion human lives ended on August 29th, 1997.
We didn't think releasing Air Bud would have this big an effect. The film does a good job catching you up and honestly works as a standalone sequel. Many people, including myself, saw this one prior to the first film. My only criticism? It does way too good a job making me want to play the arcade game again. I could have gone to college twice with the amount of quarters that thing guzzled.
Skynet sent 2 Terminators back through time to destroy the leader of the human resistance, John Connor.
Oh, whoops, our bad. This resistance is led by John Walsh.
Police need your help to find a convicted killer.
After an opening credit sequence of again truly unforgettable imagery, we cut to 1991 where the Terminator, played again by Schwarzenegger, is sent back to, well, do some shopping. One of the things I don't think this movie gets enough credit for, the extras are amazing. I mean, even in the best movies, you find some actors who say a line a little weird, but everybody in this is 100% believable. Most films would have everybody react the same way to something like this, but everyone has a unique reaction. Some are shocked, some are confused, many aroused. Told you we were having Austrian Wiener Schnitzel tonight. He takes the clothes from one of the bikers and... Let me make it clear, there was a time when this song was not only used for kid troublemaker movies. And this was after that. The You Could Be Mine song was a better choice. Like before, somebody else is sent back, the T-1000, played by Robert Patrick. This film does a good job tricking you into thinking Arnold is still the bad guy and Patrick is the human hero. Notice, it just looks like he knocks out the cop. We don't know he can change into anything. The clothes you assume he stole as opposed to shapeshift. And even his mannerisms are a lot more human compared to the other Terminators.
He's a good-looking boy. Do you mind if I keep this picture?
No, go on.
For a lot of people, it's a legit surprise when Arnold says get down, as up to that point, you could easily see either as the hero or villain. This brings us to a young John Connor, played by Eddie Furlong, whose step-parents are not thrilled about his rebellious ways.
I swear, I have had it with that goddamn kid. Todd!
What?
He hasn't cleaned that room of his in a month.
Well, you did brownface in Aliens. Nobody's perfect.
Please insert your stolen card now. Withdraw 300. Yes!
Little does he know his best friend utilizes this hacking technique to become the world's youngest millionaire.
Morning, Sarah.
We're then reintroduced to Sarah Connor, played again by Linda Hamilton. And you know how in the last film the psychiatrist said this?
This is great stuff. I could make a career out of this guy.
Well, I think he did, as he's now one of the head honchos in this mental institution and is probably making even more money on the committed Connor saying the exact same thing.
I'm sure it feels very real to you.
On August 29th, 1997, it's gonna feel pretty fucking real to you too.
At first I was annoyed that she was saying the exact same thing that clearly didn't work for the committed Reese. But the more I thought about it, being the only person who knows when the apocalypse is and lying about it for many years, you would probably crack at some point. In fact, this is one of the few films that repeats a lot of similar lines and actions from the previous movie, but it feels totally natural. When you hear lines in Home Alone 2 like,
Yikes, I did it again. Well, you got your wish last year, maybe you'll get it again this year.
This ain't like the last time.
We did it again!
it feels forced and phony. So many sequels do this just so you can say, I recognize that thing that was good before, therefore this is good. But in this, it surprisingly feels organic. When they pause the video at a similar time they did with Reese in the first movie, she remembers and knows she has to change her game plan.
They don't exist. I know that now.
When Arnold says,
"Come with me if you want to live."
It shows her he's the good guy, but in the most ironic form as what was trying to kill her in the last film. Even the climax, driving two vehicles, they crash and they have to get two new vehicles, resulting in a surprise climax when you think it wrapped up. All of this works because so many of the roles are flipped, like they all have a chance to relive these moments and do them right, redeeming themselves and even the future of humanity. There's only one that feels a little gimmicky.
I'll be back.
But would you be happier with?
Talk to the hand.
Million stars. With that said, their actions don't always work, as Sarah pretends the Terminator is a delusion, but the doctor isn't falling for it.
I don't see any choice but to recommend you stay here for another 6 months.
Let's see what happens when we take away the puppy.
Meanwhile, at the mall, the Terminator and T-1000 search for John, and I'm not gonna lie, I really wish I could have seen the scene where Arnold bought those roses.
Yes, I would like a dozen roses, please.
Here you go.
That's me.
It'll be $18.
Wrong. John plays Afterburner. Oh, my bad. Star Commando. I always confuse the two. As his friend notices, a cop is scoping for him.
Man, there's this cop scoping for you. Check it out.
They found out what we did at Camp Anawana. Anyone else grow up hating this kid? You had one line and you used it to be a narc. Enjoy your stitches. Oh, and you think Batman was the biggest sellout for McDonald's? How about a scene for the Guns N' Roses video that literally has Guns N' Roses? That's like Weekend at Bernie's literally putting The Weekend at Bernie's.
Hey!
Get down.
Admit it, you always felt sorry for that guy too. I think the moral of the film is if you ever try to do anything good ever, you're gonna bleed. The two Terminators fight with the T-1000 knocking him out. Ooh, the latest foreshadow fashion. And Tom Cruise runs trying to catch up to John. He also might have upgraded his ride. Fun fact, none of the camera crew wanted to get this shot for fear of, well, dying. So Cameron grabbed the camera and took the shot himself. Sports stores don't have as many balls as this guy. though some shots you can make out the stuntmen a little bit. Hey, I didn't know Van Damme guest starred in this. The chase is still amazing, from the size and scale to the energized editing to that gun trick you gave up trying after 2 times. No, seriously, I got this. It's all CG.
Now, don't take this the wrong way, but you are a Terminator, right?
Yes. Cyberdyne Systems Model 101.
Holy shit.
Something else that's important to point out, the kid in this movie is actually like a real kid. That's not to say this is the first time this has been done, but more often than not, kids in movies were either there for bad one-liners or just to move the story forward. This one acts like a real kid in the 90s. Hell, honestly, any time period.
That her? Yes. She's pretty cool, huh? No, she's a complete psycho.
It's not a mission priority.
You fuck you! She's a priority to me!
He swears, he can be afraid, he fights back, he has legit good insults, he's a little shit, but that's what most kids are around that age. He's played in a way that doesn't get annoying and is extremely relatable, giving him real moments to come to grips with what this new reality means about everything he ever knew.
It's like everything I've been brought up to believe was all made of bullshit. I hated her for that, and nobody believed her. Not even me.
After this film, this was the gold standard in writing a believable child in a mainstream movie. Even give him credit when he tries saving his step-parents despite not liking them.
If you hurry home, we can sit down and have dinner together. I'm making beef stew.
But something seems off when the dog keeps barking. Again, a good callback to the first film.
Honey, are you okay?
I'm right here. I'm fine.
Wonder why I can't do an American accent the rest of the time.
Your foster parents are dead.
And the T-1000 has learned how to make beef stew. Seriously, why does he know how to do that? After teaching the stepdad not to drink out of the carton, the T-1000 continues his search while John figures out the Terminator technically has to do anything he says.
That's one of my mission parameters.
Stand on one foot. Yes!
Now say, Red Sonja, what's your best movie?
Don't push it, you little shit.
I also like this reversal where the kid has to be the adult teaching him why it's wrong to kill.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why?
'Cause you can't.
Why?
Because you just can't.
Why?
I order you to help me.
Okay, love you, bye-bye.
John decides to break his mother out of the institution as it looks like Sarah has the same idea. After this weird scene. Tastes like peaking in the 90s. She escapes with a paperclip and the cutest little skip. But meanwhile, the T-1000 tries sneaking in so he can take her out to replace her. Did I mention the CG in this really holds up? Sometimes it looks a little shoddy, but for friggin' 1991, this looks better than some CG effects you see today.
Hey, I got a full house.
Wait until I tell Mr. Clamp. I kind of admire that this is shot like a split screen. Almost like they're indicating they used the same actor to play both parts, but then get shots like this where you realize it had to be twins. Only later to actually duplicate the same actor. This film's goddamn amazing. John and the Terminator show up shortly after.
Gotta promise me you're not gonna kill anyone, right?
Why?
I swear I will not kill anyone.
Well, thanks Skynet for loopholes.
What the hell are you doing?
He'll live.
In other news today, a security guard died due to loss of blood in his legs. Sad and weird. This reunion will be great. This is exactly how it went when they asked her to do Dark Fate.
Help her!
Wait here.
He shoots her in the legs. She'll live. I like that all these guys are clearly knocked out hard, but the security guard is given this treatment.
Well, I'm down for the count. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm just not paid enough to deal with shit like this.
It's okay, Mom. He's here to help. It's okay.
John convinces her that it's okay until it's not okay. Meanwhile, the internet is like, that's good, but it needs more Homer and a bush. As good as the CG effects are, the practical effects are even more mind-blowing, as every time the T-1000 is torn apart, it's always a practical effect. That means this, and even this were all shot in front of the camera. For as groundbreaking as the CG is, they knew they had to combine it with other effects because the eye would get too used to it and would start to look phony. Like, sadly, so much CGI has today because it's been so overused. They fight off the T-1000 and don't take any chances with parts left over. Thank God, I won't have to stuff down there now. Yeah, I'm going out on a dick joke, what about it? I'm so glad after I gushed how good the effects are, we get arguably the worst rear projection in the movie. Maybe it's like Sin City and Tarantino took over directing for a bit. Hamilton doesn't have any shoes on.
What were you thinking? You cannot risk yourself, even for me. Do you understand?
Sarah gives John a hard time for coming to save her, causing him to tear up.
What's wrong with your eyes?
Nothing.
I always found it odd that a machine based on biological termination doesn't know what crying is. Though maybe the idea is he knows how, just not why. Either way, what a girly man!
So what's your story?
Daddy!
Meanwhile, the T-1000 searches for a new vehicle.
Say, that's a nice bike.
Well, we have the shtick for the next Terminator all set up. I guess it doesn't help that after I praise the kid dialogue too, these couple of lines here do seem a little Disney afternoon.
You say, no problemo. And if you want to shine them on, it's hasta la vista, baby.
He got 98% of it down when some can't even get 1% of it down. I say cut him a little slack. My God, he actually got to the chopper.
I got you! No, you didn't!
I know I said this film doesn't have the deepest ideas, but that doesn't mean it has none at all. There are some very poignant moments that arguably need to be in a film like this if it's to hold any weight or suspense.
We're not gonna make it, are we? People, I mean.
It's in your nature to destroy yourselves.
Just look at where the franchise goes.
You did it! I told you I'm good!
Well, back to making guns look like the coolest goddamn thing in the world.
That's definitely you.
John does continue to bond with the Terminator, forcing Sarah to think back at all the deadbeats she dated in the past.
It would never leave him, never shout at him or get drunk and hit him. This machine was the only one who measured up.
It gives me hope that vibrator technology will advance to raising kids too, then I'd be set. She has, honestly, one of the freakiest dream sequences I can remember growing up, when she sees her past self raising John in what could have been an alternate life. That uniform makes your calves look chunky! Okay, I did that for a reason, to show that a quick cut could still be effective. What's interesting about Cameron, though, is he not only takes it several steps further, but it's several expensive steps further. It isn't just a bright light, it's people set ablaze, the city explodes, countless models are fried, people are nuked into ashes, and even blowing up one of the leads isn't enough, you gotta see her goddamn skeleton! I can't fathom how much a scene like this cost that easily could have been edited out. But you do remember it more, and these images constantly remind you what's at risk and why so many of the grislier scenes are justified. So much so that Sarah's going after the man who's developing the Skynet technology based on the pieces the first Terminator left behind, Miles Dyson, played by Joe Morton. Oh, they also cut the car chase budget down quite a bit. That's right, stop him before he's a part of a horrible monstrosity! John and the Terminator show up and try to stop her, not realizing she herself couldn't go through with the act.
Look at me, Mom. Are you hurt?
You got the wrong house. This is Miles Tyson from the Frozen Meats Company. On the plus side, we might leave with some buffalo chicken dip.
It'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll figure something out, okay?
I really dig this moment where again the roles are switched and John has to be the parent for a moment, comforting her. Quite different to how she's been treating him throughout half the film. But let's face it, what you remember about this scene is the arm moment. My God, these effects! Again, you know this would all be done with CG today, but knowing they built that arm to look like a real human arm and have an operating mechanical arm under it in the same shot? It's insane the attention to detail this movie has.
Now listen to me very carefully.
Put the cookie
down. They catch Dyson up to speed, and it's decided they're all gonna destroy the Skynet technology before it has a chance to destroy humanity. Unfortunately, the guards spot them, and they call in as many cops as possible, leading to one of the funnier lines in the movie.
We got company.
Police?
How many?
All of them, I think.
They're led by Captain Kitchen Sink. The Terminator says he'll take care of them without killing anyone. And I had to cross my legs for this scene because this moment gets me so friggin' hard. Oh, it's like if a gun and a punch could have an orgasm. Oh, something about we're not gonna make it. Violence will be our downfall, whatever. Guns, 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 now, now, now! They're set to blow up the place, but are stopped before setting it off. Well, that's a 1991 LA cop moment. The others escape, leaving Dyson's literal last breath setting off the explosions. Again, I legit feel bad whenever somebody dies in this movie. It's like the anti-Wachowski method. The T-1000 works his way in, though, as they work their way out.
Get down on the floor, face down! Down on the floor now!
Funny, you didn't give that warning to the unarmed man upstairs, but the guy literally covered in bullets? We should follow the book on this one. He grabs himself an Amazon delivery truck and they drive off, with a T-1000 not far behind.
Get out.
Tell my wife I died fighting a Capri Sun commercial!
Chopper's coming in!
It's him.
He chases them down, shooting at them, while he forms a third arm to fly. At least, I hope that's a third arm. And again, we partake in one of the coolest action scenes ever. I still have trouble convincing younger people sometimes that they really did all this. No CG, no removed wires, no models. They just flew a goddamn copter under bridges, over bridges, even into a truck. Goddamn unbelievable. The only thing that could make this scene better is this music. They both crash and have to get different vehicles, resulting in my personal favorite badass moment. The T-1000 gets frozen from the liquid nitrogen truck he was driving, leading to a line so famous, I don't think it needs any introduction.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Kids quoted that for years. But the heat starts to melt the pieces together. I never got why they couldn't just kick them somewhere else. And they try to get their injured selves to safety.
Oh, come on, Mom, get up, come on!
It's funny, I always assumed the T-1000 was acting cocky, taking his time, but this dude was frozen. Maybe he's still just thawing out. Yeah, that's the thing I did anyway. The T-1000 kills the Terminator, but he has a backup the T-1000 didn't know about?
Alright.
And he tries to take Sarah's form to trick John. Which one do I shoot? Oh, good, one of them will do it for me. They almost knock him into the lava, but no more bullets. See, I can have quips too. But the Terminator, of course, arrives in time and blows him to hell, which I think is where you would see some of this imagery. I also love this weird-ass sound it makes that it's never made before. Did it step on a hive of spider witches? What was that? I like he tries to replicate everything he's transformed into to try and figure a way out, and it also makes him hauntingly surreal nightmare fuel. Why couldn't this be the Navi's design? Now that would look truly alien. We like to thank James Cameron for becoming Terry Gilliam for a few minutes.
I need a vacation.
And Joss Whedon. They burn the material that could give birth to Skynet. Hey, what about the other arm? Don't worry about it, the sequels don't. But it's revealed that it'll never be fully prevented unless the Terminator himself is terminated.
I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do. I just learned to do comedy. Tears is not part of the Arnold package.
He's slowly lowered into the lava, Alien 3 finally knows what to rip its ending off of, and he even gives his own Siskel and Ebert review of the movie going down. It's okay, honey, we'll just buy you a new Terminator. Or a GoBot or something. The film ends with the uncertain future rolling ahead, not sure if what they did will save humanity or not. Which is quite different from the original ending they had, where they clarified the future is 100% safe.
1997 came and went. Nothing much happened. Michael Jackson turned 40.
He looks like he has 10 more years in him. It's funny because I didn't really like this ending because it didn't leave it open if the future was altered. If anything, the first film indicated it can't be altered, but now I look at this thinking, well, we could have saved us some pretty unnecessary follow-ups.
Tie me, Grandma, tie me.
Because if a machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too.
I think people would have seen it as corny if it stopped here though, so maybe it's a pick your poison type deal. For me, though, Terminator 2 is about as perfect an action film as you can get. Because it isn't just the action that's so good in it. Its acting is fantastic. I'm kinda shocked no Oscar nods ever came out of it. The direction is poignant, the callbacks are earned, the threats feel real, the effects are still brilliant, and everybody in it is charming and likable. Anytime it starts to lean towards something maybe a little too silly, it balances out with the intimidating moments that are intense and suspenseful. The same way the first Terminator was chosen by the Library of Congress to go into the National Film Registry to be preserved, I think this film should too. It's not one of the Citizen Kanes of drama, but I would argue it's one of the Citizen Kanes of action, and action does play a big part in entertainment. It's timeless in so many ways great films should be timeless, and despite it still being massively popular, I think it deserves more respect for the impact that it had. So keep watching it, keep talking about it, and let's never let the respect for this amazing movie ever die. I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember, so you don't have to. Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember, so you don't have to. Well, after two of the biggest movies to ever hit Hollywood, we saw the return of James Cameron, Eddie Furlong, Linda Hamilton, and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the third cinematic installment of the Terminator franchise, Terminator 3. D at Universal Studios, Florida. Oh, and some dumbasses made this. Okay, before I'm too hard on this movie, I can't say this is the worst of the Terminator films. Honestly, it has quite a few things I like in it. But it's the first one that made you conscious of, oh yeah, this is just another franchise. It'd be like making a subpar sequel to Spirited Away or Shawshank Redemption. It sucks out that unique special feeling and reminds you this can be watered down like anything else. With that said, the film does have some interesting things about it. One is, it came out the same year Arnold was elected governor in 2003, which means he's the first politician to be elected and have the #1 movie. 2, it's the first Terminator film to be released by Warner Brothers. Actually, the rights have been passed to more studios than, I guess anything now. And 3, it's the first Terminator film not to be written and directed by James Cameron. And boy does it show! If Terminator 2 was the Dark Knight of the Batman movies, this is certainly the Batman Forever of the franchise. Not the worst, but certainly lighter and nowhere near as epic. With that said though, is there anything worth remembering fondly in this movie? Or is it only the start of Judgment Day for this franchise? Well, let's talk to the hand to find out. This is Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. So remember the epic credits to the other two films going from simple but memorable to iconic and haunting? Well, now it's just credits. Black background, play them while the movie acts out. They're about as memorable as... Oh, that's weird, I don't remember. Even the apocalyptic future is kinda lame now. I remember skulls and fire, a blue laser-filled wasteland of death. Now it looks like an app you use to blow up pictures on your phone. Hey, remember when I took that city picture from the plane? Oh my god, it blew up! Now I'm gonna use it to blow up my ex-girlfriend. Oh my gosh, she blew up! She really blew up! It's real. As you'll quickly figure out, this film doesn't look bad, but nothing about it is iconic. We see John Connor, played this time by Nick Stahl, hopping from place to place trying to keep a low profile after he stopped Judgment Day.
My name is John Connor. They tried to murder me before I was born.
Nick Stahl's a good actor, and I'm sure could play an emotionally exhausted hero, but like a lot of actors in this, he doesn't sound beaten down by all the chaos he's witnessed. He sounds bored from saying the same lines the other Terminator films have repeated over and over.
The future has not been written. My mother told me the storm was coming. 3 billion lives would vanish in an instant. There is no fate but what we make for ourselves.
How many different ways do you want me to tell the same story?
It's like saying with great power comes I don't even have to complete that because you're so tired of hearing it. After the millionth time, it just doesn't leave that much of an impact unless you add something new. With that said, something new is added. Another Terminator sent back called the TX, played by Kristanna Loken. The first one was Schwarzenegger, a giant beast of a man who barely talked. The second was Patrick, a much smaller model but had more social skills, like the machines learned how to be more human in between movies. So now that it's a woman, often seen as more social than men, this could be really creepy. But unlike Patrick, who balanced emotionally understanding and emotionally bankrupt sometimes in the same shot, this one just likes things.
I like this car.
I like your gun.
I like turtles.
I've seen this actress on TV and she's fine at what she does, but like Stahl, I don't think they knew how to utilize her. She's neither expressive nor robotic enough to be threatening.
Where did he go? Tell me, where did he go?
I think the focus was more on her being sexy. And don't get me wrong, Schwarzenegger and Patrick were exploited for that too. But the number one priority was still to make them scary. And something tells me that wasn't their prime focus with this one.
Gazongas.
Oh my god. Are you okay? What are you...
Oh, did I mention this movie is rated a very soft, boring R? Where most movies have to fight to bring the rating down, this one I think had to fight to bring it up. There's practically no swearing, most of the deaths are off screen, any blood shown is usually fake blood from a machine. With the exception of one creative kill, this could easily pass for PG-13, maybe even PG. Now, of course, gore doesn't make a huge difference in these movies. I mean, it makes a pretty big difference. It makes a huge difference, and here's why. In Terminator 2, we don't see Patrick kill this cop, because they're saving it for the second time he kills someone, and it's a huge payoff. Here, the first kill is off screen. Okay, that's fine, building it up, but here's the second kill.
Let me see your license and registration.
I like your gun.
What?
It's also off screen. In fact, the majority of deaths are just gunshots, stuff we've seen a million times. And you guessed it, they're mostly done off screen. The gore wasn't just gore in the last one. It added a believable threat, taking a relatively silly idea and making it feel credible. Here, it's just random. So the TX, who could have been the scariest machine of them all, turns out to be the blandest. But thankfully, the one thing this Terminator does pretty well is the Terminator.
Talk to
For the most part, there's a lot to unpack. Arnold returns looking pretty good considering he was mid-50s here. And he once again has to go looking for clothes and locates a Chippendale bar. Yeah, just cross off tails and I think that's pretty accurate.
Take off your clothes.
Patience, honey.
Okay, so you might have put together this Terminator film 12 years after the iconic last one has a lot of self-satire. We didn't want that, but here it is. And the only thing more annoying than that is, it's actually not that bad at it. Hear me out! The reason I think it works okay in this is because it's still written around what the Terminator would actually do. We all know this cringy-ass scene.
Talk to the hand.
But when you see where he got it from, it's surprisingly pretty clever.
Your clothes.
Talk to the hand.
Now.
That's silly, but I buy it. He's still hurting the guy, but he's complying too because he does want the clothes. Even those dumbass glasses. He tries them on, scarring fans for life, but he then crushes them. This is a machine that smiles when holding a gigantic gun. I totally believe he would do this. Should he be in these situations? No. But when he is, he reacts the proper way. And that believability is funny to me.
Talk to the hand.
Most of the time. Move on, please. We see an injured Connor breaks into a vet's office to patch himself up when one of the vets named Kate, played by Claire Danes, spots him while tending to an early morning cat owner.
How much did you take?
Enough.
This is the stuff we use to chemically neuter dogs.
No wonder I looked at my balls after they fell off. I'm gonna be traumatized when I sober up. Leader of the Resistance, everybody! The Resistance of going walkies?
My Kripke's basement.
What?
You're John Connor.
I recognize how much you don't look like your younger self.
We went to West Hills Junior High together.
How could you forget me? I was your redheaded best friend! It looks like Kate made out with John when they were kids, literally the day before the Terminator entered his life. So, is this supposed to be her? Is that why she knew he'd be at the Galleria? No, I much more buy that these two made out. The TX arrives shooting the cat owner, and I give credit. They really made me think this movie was going to be this crazy.
Catherine Brewster? No.
If they gave that feature to the other Terminators, the ads would have written themselves. Not that her reaction when she does find blood from a target is much better. Again, just imagine one of the other Terminators doing that when they find a target.
Sarah Connor?
Yes?
Speaking of which, Arnold's the party pooper and stops the TX before she can kill our heroes.
You here to kill me?
I am programmed to take 4 dramatic steps before answering your question.
No.
That's the good news. The bad news is I'm really bad at the protecting you part.
Connor and Kate escape, but we discover that TX can control other machines. One of the few additions that's actually a good idea, and like most things in this movie, is kinda taken advantage of. Wow, wait till I tell the fangirls he does smoke down there. Wanna see the best cop ever? Hi, dangerous looking armed man approaching me. You see anything strange around here? I just think too many happy thoughts. Eddie, we got us a ride! Open the door! He crashes into a pissed Mark Cuban, allowing the police and TX to catch up, leading to, let's be honest, a pretty fun chase scene. It's not quite Terminator 2 good, but it is inventive, and most of the destruction was shot on set. In fact, the film ran out of money before they could shoot this crane building crash, but Arnold liked it so much he paid for the scene out of pocket. So while we see a cool stunt, Arnold is seeing... But on the plus side, you get to keep the residuals for this. After they escape the TX, John is told why the same old obsolete Austrian model is back for the 3rd time.
We stopped Judgment Day.
You only postponed it. Judgment Day is inevitable. Buggy eye mode engaged.
You've got to be shitting me.
No, I am not shitting you.
I guess I shouldn't be shocked this is the plot for a sequel to the last one, but couldn't they work in the Inevitable Judgment Day thing a little better? I mean, can you change the past or not? It'd be cool if we found out the date of Judgment Day was a lie from the machines. Like, you know, history's written by the winners, so they changed the date to trick the future generations of humanity. That way they could explain why the date would be different, but also keep true to the idea that you can't alter the past to change the future. Which the first one and arguably the second one were keeping to. I don't know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. These people had years to think this story up. But in this, it doesn't feel clever, it feels forced. And oh boy, did I time feels forced with the perfect moment.
I'm utilizing the same diet the writers had when they wrote this script high as fuck.
Are you gonna pay for that?
Talk to the hand.
That's our Hasta la Vista scene, everybody! We got your money, it's too late. Enjoy, Internet! That scene truly is tragic as it blocks out what's honestly a pretty humorous scene right after.
Just finished reading my lines for this stinker. Get me out of this! Fuck!
How do you make up for these two having no chemistry? Talk about off-camera time when they did have chemistry.
We made out in Kripke's basement. You and me hooked up the day before I first met him. And now, again, 10 years later.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Their next stop, the Terminator takes them to Sarah Connor's tomb. That is what happens when Linda Hamilton decomposes.
Her friends scattered her ashes in the sea. They stored these weapons in accordance with her will.
Feel like she could have just hit him with the other weapons. In fact, what if a killer robot from the future didn't come back in time to tell John all that? How the hell would he know to find them there? I literally think the only reason this was written into the film was to give us this scene where the police arrive and Arnold carries a coffin shooting a gun. Which I'm not gonna lie, I saw in the trailer and I did say, I wonder how they're gonna get to this point.
I'm carrying the corpse of this movie away, just like I'm carrying the rest of this film.
Hey look, the psychiatrist from the other two films. Bye! TX takes on the identity of Kate's fiancé to trick her, revealing yards away that she's an imposter. A Tasmanian devil is more stealth than you. When the Terminator reveals why Kate is so important to the Resistance. And it's done in a way that's timed so silly you want to hear this music over it.
Later, your children will become important.
What?
She's your wife.
They stop the TX in time, but not before she does some damage to their ride.
We need a new vehicle.
Maybe a Predator sequel on The Expendables. I don't think I can get much more out of this one.
Kate is heartbroken that her fiancé, which they've shared a total of 40 seconds of screen time together, is gone.
We gotta keep moving.
No, not he's not even worth IMDb'ing his name.
But sometimes things happen we just can't change.
Their whole romance can be summed up in 2 words. Sucks. Yeah. When they discover Kate's military father might be targeted. Yeah, in the early 2000s, all female love interests had powerful fathers. Kate and John say they want to go save him despite the Terminator refusing.
Go to her father. We get him to shut Skynet down.
I calculate an 83% probability that he will not pull that trigger.
And this is when Kate grabs the gun, aims it at John, and the Terminator agrees. Hey, it's no talk to the hand, but I think it would have been funny. He eventually agrees, and they head towards her father's base. But Kate questions the motivations of this killing machine.
If we get killed, does that mean anything to you?
If you were to die, I will become useless. There will be no reason for me to exist.
Thanks, Dad.
Why didn't he send you back?
He was dead.
What? What are you saying?
I killed you.
Spoilers. One of the other great things about Arnold's character is that it is a different model. It's updated with more human psychology. It can lie, it has an understanding of emotions, but it's still a machine who doesn't have any interest in them. It would have been so easy to make him more emotional because of this, but that was the last model. He didn't understand emotions, so he was trying to learn. This one does, and still keeps John at a distance, which honestly makes him one of the more interesting Terminators in these films. He understands psychology, yet shows no emotion. I really do give kudos that they didn't go too sappy with this, as it would have been so easy to do so. With that said, it does come across a little more like a sitcom sometimes.
Your levity is good. It relieves tension and the fear of death.
Life is unfair. It looks like Skynet has shut down all of America's military defense while TX sneaks in to no doubt program the machines to destroy Uwe Boll before Blood Rain.
Sir, shall I?
No, it's my job now.
There's a surprisingly powerful moment when Skynet is about to be turned on to relaunch the weapon systems, and everyone knows the danger involved. So much so that Kate's father takes personal responsibility in pushing the button to launch it. Scenes like this do stop the film from being totally forgettable and actually add a little weight to what they're talking about. With that said, oops.
Watch out!
She'll be back.
Whoa, that makes me look at that line differently. Oh wait, no, it's just a dumb joke. Wow, that was a surprisingly weak-ass missile. What, was it supposed to make your ears pop? TX catches up to him though, and they split up.
What? You remind me of my mother.
Dude, get laid.
Let's mix things up. We haven't seen Arnold in a bathroom fight yet. Well, this actress just got an achievement unlocked she never thought she'd reach.
Don't make me talk to your hand.
Again, give this scene a shout out. Some of the moves these two perform are goofily fun. And despite not showing any emotion, you can tell they probably had a good time performing them. Smokin'? She knocks him out and reprograms him so that he can chase after Connor as well.
You made it! Get away from me!
Yes, that means walk closer. You really are the worst predicted messiah, and I've known some really shitty ones.
Let him go!
Jesus, give that stunt woman an Oscar. Give any stunt performer an Oscar, damn it!
What is your mission?
To ensure the survival of John Connor.
Is this the human emotion you call over-underacting?
He turns the car into a Street Fighter bonus level and turns off his system. Honestly, in a pretty embarrassing pose.
What happened?
Couldn't do it. He shut himself down.
I also think he took his dick out and placed it on that SUV. He didn't even get that car's name. John and Kate fly to the location where the Terminator said they can stop Skynet, but the way is blocked.
It's a code prompt.
Oh, what's the Elvish word for friend? But it looks like the TX got to the chopper, and not surprisingly, so did Arnold. How come nobody ever knows about his Deus Ex Machina backup? I smell a gimmick.
I'm back.
You know, not every line needs to be the I need a vacation line. He stops the TX, who has resorted to roars and growls. Did she do that before? Were those like her original lines in the movie?
Lady, have you any idea how fast you were going? What?
And blows her up while giving the only line I don't think he was trying on.
You are terminated. I think I earned the right to phone one in. I am the only thing you're gonna remember from this movie.
They discover, though, that they weren't being led to Skynet's destruction. They were being led to a shelter while Judgment Day still takes place.
Why did he lead us down here? To live. There was never any stopping it.
So, I'm kind of split on this. On the one hand, I'm impressed this movie would be ballsy enough to do this. Most of the film is very light, so to end with a super downer send-off, practically making the last film irrelevant, I'll admit, does take guts to do. I also like that a lot of the film is John running away from his responsibilities as a leader, and he ultimately discovers there is no running from it, so he has to embrace it. But A, this is the same movie that has this.
Talk to the hand.
One of these things is not like the other. And B, remember how he said this?
We stopped Judgment Day.
You only postponed it.
Yet he talks about how Judgment Day is inevitable and you can't change it. Except you did. You changed Judgment Day. The other film, you went back in time to change things, and you changed things. So why couldn't you try to stop it from happening again? Even if time does find a way to correct itself, it still shows stuff can be altered, so why not alter as much as possible? I'm probably reading too deep into it. I just hate when a film acts like, of course this is how time travel works, idiot, when you can go, no, you're the idiot, idiot. This is all bullshit, at least it can be consistent bullshit, idiot.
Relax.
But whatever, that was Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. It's nowhere near the worst, but it's nowhere near the best. It's just another action movie. But with that said, it's an action movie with a decent idea here and there, some enjoyable stunts, and along with every groaner, there are some decent laughs as well. Most of them from Arnold. He really is what carries this movie, but he shouldn't be the best part of a Terminator film. The writing, directing, supporting cast, mind-blowing effects, and epic sigh should be the best parts about it. But I don't know, it is short, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it has a few fun moments. But it was clear that Judgment Day had come, and the future of the franchise was not looking very hopeful. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and it only gets better from here.
Hey, do you like John Connor?
John Connor?
The prophesized war hero of the future?
Of course we do.
Well, now you can bring him home. It's the most exciting soldier the world has ever known.
John Connor!
Wow!
Oh my God!
It's really him!
That's right, it's
John Connor!
So what does he do?
He's John Connor!
Yeah, but what does he do?
He's the most exciting soldier the world has.
Yeah, no, we heard that, but what's he actually done?
Well, he said his name a lot.
My name is John Connor.
This is John Connor.
John Connor!
This is John Connor.
Is that the most he can do is just be John Connor?
Well, you can't do it.
I guess that's true.
But why would I want to be John Connor if all that means is being John Connor?
Look, we didn't think that far ahead with this. We thought we'd have one movie, 2 at the most. So we didn't flesh out why John Connor would be that great a hero.
So he's like an influencer? We're just supposed to love him because he exists?
I mean, yeah, sure, let's go with that.
I don't know, man. This is sounding a little shady.
Did I mention he has his own makeup line?
He does?
And he loves to take pictures of meals at restaurants.
I do that too. We have so much in common.
And he totally agrees with your political views.
Which one?
The bad people are bad.
Oh my God, we're practically the same person.
So what are you waiting for? Judgment Day? It's funny. Get John Connor because, you know, he's John Connor. And that's enough.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember? So you don't have to. Well, let's talk about the worst Terminator film. No, it's not that. Let's talk about the riskiest Terminator film. No, not that either. Let's talk about the most action-packed Terminator film. Let's talk about the one you forget even exists. Released in 2009 and directed by Mick G, the only director to sound like a rapper promoting a McDonald's sandwich, this was not only the first Terminator film to not have Arnold in it, but it was also the first one to be rated PG-13. I guess 3 technically doesn't count. But audiences weren't just interested in Arnold and bloody gore. They checked out the film for its story, characters, and stamp of approval the Terminator films will always— No, it bombed hard! It did much better overseas, but neither critics nor audiences seemed to get into the idea of following John Connor in the future. Truth be told, I'm not even sure the movie was that interested in it. The film was in production hell for some time because of figuring out what characters the franchise should focus on. So many rewrites that much of the story was written while they were filming. And most of all, ownership rights. The copyrights for this series has been passed around so many times with so many hoops to jump through that even Christian Bale's action figure is covered up because they didn't know if they had the rights to show his likeness. This is the toy for the hero of your series. Imagine if they did that with Christian Bale in the Batman movies. He still looks better than Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Speaking of which, yes, this is the film that Bale freakout recording came from as well.
Oh, good for you. You're a nice guy, but I don't fucking cut it when you're bullshitting and fucking around like this on set. I never had a DP behave like this.
Is it weird to say that after years of other meltdowns, this one almost seems polite?
I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass.
Yeah, I said almost. Needless to say, this movie's a mess, but is it a mess with some polished moments? Well, let's journey back and say, oh yeah, I did see that. This is Terminator Salvation. I think one of the conditions producers had for this movie was half the people not have last names. The 2000s! Our identity was, we had no identity. We open before Judgment Day as a death row inmate named Marcus, played by Sam Worthington, is asked by a doctor if he would donate his organs to a worthy cause after he's executed.
You know what I did. My brother and 2 cops are dead because of me.
Well, that'll be interesting to explore. Of course it doesn't.
You be donating your body to a noble cause.
But I'm not the only one with a death sentence, am I?
No, that's just how Helena Bonham Carter looks now. Years with Tim Burton just leaves you looking like that.
I'll sell it to you.
He says he'll sell his organs for a kiss from her.
So that's what death tastes like.
Says the guy on death row. This is some weird writing. We cut to a ton of text that honestly isn't needed. I think we all know the drill at this point. All it does is make me wish I was watching a Super Metroid movie. The only major change is the date. God, these sequels continue to be timeless. To be fair, that is the year Holmes and Watson came out. I can see the world looking like this. Well, now we know what happened to the original DP.
Connor is on the ground.
Christian Bale is number 3 in a long line of actors I totally don't buy are John Connor. He and his team come across a machine base where apparently they've been experimenting on humans, trying to create the T-800, aka the Terminator from the first movie.
Connor, get your ass topside. Remind those men they need to answer me on the radio, even if they're dead.
Everyone's lines are just the right amount of off in this. We get an extreme long shot without an edit of Connor being shot down because children of men? I don't know. And he walks back to base as we see Marcus rises from below. Line? Oh yeah. Ow! I'm a simple dude. Seeing Christian Bale argue with Michael Ironside to see who can outman each other is pretty satisfying.
What the hell are you doing here?
What did we find out?
You put every man and woman in this sub in jeopardy. You'll be briefed on a need-to-know basis.
Well, I need to know. My men died.
You killed my partner! What? Oh, I don't know. We've hit all the other ones. 2 more and I get cliche bingo! They say they have a way to shut off Skynet, and Connor volunteers to test it out. He goes to his wife, Kate, played this time by Bryce Dallas Howard. Ooh, she's pregnant. What's that gonna mean? Okay. While he listens to the recording his mother made at the end of the first film.
What's most difficult for me is trying to decide what to tell you and what not to. Should I tell you about your father? Will it affect your decision to send him back in time?
Sounds a little more rushed and a little less poetic than the original, huh? You'll find that's a theme here. Speedy information over emotional comprehension. Even her picture is cut down to save time. Meanwhile, Marcus tries looking for some signs of civilization. Or color. Yeah, this movie's pretty fugly looking. I know it's after Judgment Day, but there's still a lot of post-apocalyptic films that still look good. This looks like someone filmed a person in front of their TV with Call of Duty on it, then put a tinted screen door over it. Maybe they're trying to simulate Arnold's vision, as the whole film feels like it's being viewed through sunglasses. Hey! Give a shout out to some of the effects though, as McGee really admired how much of the effects in the other films were in front of the camera and tried having as many on-set Terminators as possible. As we see when Marcus approaches the ruins of LA. Or maybe present-day LA. He's saved, though, by a young Kyle Reese, played by the late Anton Yelchin. How do I know it's Kyle Reese? Because he literally says nothing else when he greets people.
Come with me if you want to live.
Mr. Reese, this is Adam Roark.
Come with me if you want to live.
Stephanie Evans.
Come with me if you want to live.
And Sarah Connor.
I have always loved you. Come with me if you want to live. It's funny how it joked that they never got an adult I could see as John Connor, because Anton is instantly believable as a young Kyle Reese.
Terminator. T-600. You can't go on foot. Machines will cut you down. You need speed.
I swear this is Michael Biehn with an Anton Yelchin Mission Impossible mask on. He is so eerie in how much he's got him down. After acting out the grittiest Roadrunner cartoon. No, seriously.
2-day-old coyote.
He introduces Marcus to his silent partner in survival, Star. Oh, I wonder what her backstory is. You know the difference between having people and characters, right? While that's going on, Connor makes a speech to whoever's listening.
We've been fighting a long time, and we have all lost so very much, so many loved ones gone.
Yeah, I bet that whispery, gravelly voice sounds great on the radio. What? Huh? Why should the cheesemakers be blessed? Hey, Bale, what's your character's name again?
This is John Connor.
Oh, right, my bad. The next day, they're attacked by Amazon drones, and for a guy who's never driven, he drives like he's always driven.
Keep it steady!
I've never driven before!
But I've seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We'll be airborne in no time. They outrun them and come across another group of survivors. Wonder what their story. Something stopped me from completing that sentence. Thanks. It's the attachments that make this film meaningful. Now, I know you haven't seen something move quite this complex in the other Terminator movies, but Transformers just made bank. If this came out close to Frozen, they'd look like this. Thank you, Black Newt. I'll give them this too. Their kabooms are impressively kablooey. They seem to escape, but they're headed off at the pass.
Incoming enemy.
Reese and Star are captured, I think because we started to get to know them, so kick their asses out, while Marcus gets flung into the river. Why do I always get an image of Captain Hook bouncing off the water whenever I see that? Smee!
John, give me some high heels during the action sequences. I feel naked without them.
Let's test the signal. And pray it works.
Didn't know Terminator Salvation had commercial breaks. Oh, is that what we're doing? Okay. Marcus comes across one of the ejected pilots. Oh boy, I can't wait to learn nothing about her. And she says her name is Blair Williams, played by Moon Bloodgold. Wait, which one's the fictional name?
Why don't you come with me to my base? Connor might know a way. He's definitely the guy you want to talk to.
If anything, he might know how to stop things from looking like the later Harry Potter movies. Did someone shit on the film? I mean, God! Yeah, this dark, easily ambushable area is a great spot to set down your gun.
What do you got there?
We've been watching you.
You looking for this?
Are you guys crazy? If you intimidate a woman you just met, she's not gonna instantly like you. You have to save her life first. Then she'll want to bang your bones.
You have a strong heart. God, I love that sound.
The way it counts down to your reset mode is so sexy. Wait.
You don't meet a lot of good guys these days.
I'm not a good guy.
You just don't know it yet.
I've known you for 3 minutes of this film's running time. I got you figured out. Meanwhile, Connor and some other soldiers test out their Skynet shutter offer in literally a mountain of shit. I can't see at all, so I'm just calling it a mountain of shit. Mount Dookie. They're on Mount Dookie. Fuck it. I would have yelled at this DP! It seems to work, but they discover they're going to use it to blow up the machine base with human prisoners still inside.
Leadership has its cost. You above all should know that.
Ashdown, come!
Damn him!
Why am I southern all of a sudden? Riggin' frogin' raggin' rabbit! Later, we see Marcus and Blair are almost home, but he accidentally steps on a magnetic mine. Or rather, the magnetic mine steps on him. Gotta love their animal reflexes. So, do I blow up or did you? Oh, it was me, got it! We're given the surprise that all of you figured out the minute he was reintroduced. Marcus is a machine with only a few human organs. Hey, here's another big shocker. Jared Leto's not actually Jesus.
You and me. We've been at war. Since before either of us even existed.
Pretty exciting, huh?
What is?
John Connor!
Is he? I mean, what has he been doing this whole time?
Well, staring. Staring? A general staring type of staring.
Does he do anything outside the bare minimum?
Does he even do the bare minimum half the time?
Well, what were you expecting?
I don't know. Maybe team up with that Marcus guy?
What?
Yeah, he could have formed a friendship with him, making the surprise that he's a machine all the more tragic.
And then you could have teamed up the pilot with Reese.
Are we writing a better story than you?
No, of course not. John Connor is the most important hero ever. Plus, you push a button and he talks.
What the fuck are you doing?
Maybe you should ignore that, but he's only available for a limited time.
I think that's for the best.
John Connor! He's important because reasons.
Nobody trusts him knowing he's a machine, so they plan to rip him apart. But Blair helps him escape for saving her life earlier. But not in the most delicate way.
Thank you.
I always joke those who rescue me. I value you! They both try to make it out, but soldiers chase after them. Wow, even her hair didn't get singed by any of that. His body must be made a 100% Coca-Cola machine. She stays behind so Marcus can escape, but John chases after him, getting snatched up by robo-leeches. Again, gotta love how they program the machines to growl. If I'm right, I think they even have Austrian accents. Marcus saves him though, and he calls a truce, saying he knows where Kyle Reese is being held.
He's in Skynet. You do that, he's dead. I can get you in.
How?
How? That's like asking a Koopa how he's gonna get into Bowser's castle. Do you anything military?
Contact me on that. Let me know he's still alive.
What are you?
Dude, I'm right here. You don't need to yell. I took 2 steps back. I'm sorry, Bale. I keep forgetting. What's your character's name again?
This is John Connor.
That's it, gotta write it down. As any movie about war heroes shows us, it's not about strategy, playing sides, or understanding the enemy. Nah, it's all down to speeches.
Command is going to ask you to attack Skynet. I am asking you not to.
Our future will be lost.
We'll follow you, guy who hasn't done a goddamn thing yet. We're on social media, so we're used to that. Sorry, just keep blanking. What's the name one more time?
This is John Connor.
Mental post-it note, won't forget.
What should I tell your men when they find out you're gone?
Tell them I'm John Connor.
I'll be back.
Oh, that's even more gimmicky, much better. Speaking of which, he uses the same Guns N' Roses song from the second film to lure a biking robot. I guess that's the only song playing in this universe. In fact, what DJ is still playing music in the apocalypse? And he makes his way to the machine base. Marcus helps him get in, but is quickly captured by the machines, who say he was programmed to lead Connor straight to them.
Welcome home, Marcus.
You're dead.
Calculations confirmed with Serena Cody.
Whose face is the easiest for you to process?
Nothing about your acting after 2001 is easy to process. In honestly a better effect than you would imagine, a T-800 prototype looking like Arnold steps out and tries to destroy him. And you can tell this is PG-13 because there's always a puff of smoke around Arnold's junk in every scene, like Grumpy Bear is walking under him or something.
No matter what they tell you, Mr. Bane, it is the size of your gun that counts.
But not only are the machines dumb enough to only have this be their means of destroying him, but they assign no security around Marcus, who, upon being told he's been had, may just want to escape. Skynet's the Cyberpunk 2077 of killer machines. To think this is how they make American Girl dolls. As much as I make fun of how ugly this film looks, this shot is pretty sweet. I was trying to do like that scene from Back to the Future 3 where he's driving towards the Indians. I love that scene. Very underrated sequel. Please die now. Jesus, I'm such a clot. One more time on the name, Bale.
John Connor!
John Connor, John Connor. Helps if I say it out loud. John Connor. He pours molten lava on him, which always kills a Terminator, or not. Of course. Freeze him! That kinda worked before, and I already used my freeze pun, so let's call it a day.
Come on!
Oh wait, Marcus is out, so Connor uses electric wires to jumpstart him. This is a very silly movie. Sacrificing himself in the end. Marcus gets him back to base where they say his heart doesn't have much longer. You can guess where this is going.
His heart can't take it.
Take mine.
Why?
What's that?
Why would they want to save Connor?
Well, he's John Connor!
Yeah, but Marcus is half machine, has all the information for Skynet, and is on their side.
Yeah, wouldn't it make more sense to save him than a guy who's barely done anything?
Well, funny enough, that was sort of the original idea.
Really?
You see, the script originally had Connor dying, but his team members agreed the story around him was too powerful to let it die, so they placed his skin on Marcus, who had all the info on how to take Skynet down. So it wasn't actually John Connor who was the big savior, it was Marcus posing as Connor, keeping the legend alive and inspiring humanity to fight back.
Well, that's different.
To say the least. I'm not gonna pretend a lot of people wouldn't have been put off by this, as it makes the previous film saving him almost pointless. But seeing how the movies get further and further away from John's importance, this at least would have been an interesting twist on the idea. But instead, Marcus offers up his heart to save Connor, and all that precious Skynet info is lost forever.
But he barely did anything.
Yeah, he got some people out, but that's about it.
How can a movie about John Connor have John Connor doing nothing?
Here's those 5 notes from the Terminator theme.
It's not gonna win us over this time.
But it's so clangy. So clangy!
It's on the tip of my tongue. One more time, what do they call you?
This is John Connor.
Just wear a name tag! And that was Terminator Salvation, and give them credit, there's a lot to salvage. This film doesn't have bad ideas, it just has too many, and doesn't go all the way with them. It's not an awful movie, the performances work, the action is decent, and it is cool to see more effects in front of the camera as opposed to the last one. But it doesn't really come together, looks ugly, and most of it is kinda dull. If you just want people talking tough and shooting at things in a wasteland, it's got you covered there. But there isn't a whole ton of character or insight to propel it beyond that. It's not a train wreck by any means, but it's still a pretty underwhelming ride.
I don't know. Maybe we were too hard on John Connor.
Yeah, maybe he's just a late bloomer and we should be more patient.
Come on, guys. What do you say we give him another chance?
John Connor is dead.
What?
Looks like the machines got him. He wasn't important after all.
What?
What was even the point of...
But we have the new prophesized war hero of the future, Dani Ramos. She's the most exciting soldier the world has ever...
Yeah, fuck this noise.
No, wait! It's the real deal this time. She's totally gonna save the world. Come on! Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Sing it with me. Dun, 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 dun.
How are you supposed to know? Men like you made Terminator Genesis. Men like you thought it up. You don't know what it's like to really create something. To create a Terminator or a Terminator 2. All you know how to create is death and destruction.
Critic! We need to be a little bit more constructive here, okay?
Thank you, Chester.
No problem. I'll be living in your kitchen sink until you need another cameo.
This is the worst one.
Genesis?
Released in 2015 and helmed by a director, Terminator Genesis is described by Forbes as the best Terminator since Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I still don't believe you. This is the most pointless, soulless, desperate re-sequel boot to ever come out of this franchise. It won over few critics and grossed only $89 million in America against a $155 million production budget. That's not even including advertising. And it's not hard to see why. This film is so complicated in its story, yet so simple with how dumb its characters are, that it's not even memorable as a so bad it's good movie. It's just bad. Even the worst Terminator film has some interesting ideas, or at the very least can rely on the charm of Arnold. But all of that is neuter like genitalia from Terminator Salvation. It's the one I hate the most, so let's not waste any time guessing why. This is why you'll see future YouTube videos titled Skynet Was Right. This is Terminator Genesis. Bet you never saw a Terminator film open like this. A narration about how the machines blew everything up.
Before they died, my parents told me stories of how the world once was, before the war with the machines. They remembered a green world.
LA? I'd compromise on a parched brown. We get into the Spider-Verse explosion as we're told the amount of people that died. Let me guess, 3 billion?
3 billion people died.
Goddamn Groundhog Day repeats less than this series. Perchance is there a John Connor in this future?
His name is John Connor.
Oh, good for you!
I'll give credit that this Connor, played by Jason Clarke, does look the most like Eddie Furlong with kinda similar eyes, but tell me this guy isn't gonna be the villain. I don't even know how yet. It's John Connor, the savior of humanity, yet the first frame I'm like, evil. The way they over-exaggerate his scar, the clenched lips, the pointy chin and nose. This is how they cast someone who's going to foreclose on the Banks' house. This actor is even described as always playing the antagonist. Have you ever seen a Hollywood movie?
The machines will fall tonight.
On the night they're supposed to take down Skynet's core, Kyle Reese, played this time by Jai Courtney, tells John how awesome he is at not being evil.
I want you to know, Kyle, if there was another way, I would have taken it.
Oh, and if you're not laughing your ass off at their recreation of this picture, turn in your Terminator fan card.
We did not give in! We rose up! On this night, we take back our world!
Today, we celebrate our Independent Judgment Day! So despite my criticisms, the opening of this film actually isn't too bad. It's visually very pleasing to look at, which is welcomed after the last two. I actually dig the redesign of the Terminators. They're a little bit more scrawny, which makes them a little creepier. And the action has a fair amount of energy to it. It doesn't look real, but it looks good.
At this hour, willing to sacrifice everything!
They take Skynet and discover the first Terminator has been sent back to kill Sarah Connor. Again, the film does a decent job recreating the look of the first movie almost flawlessly. Who should go back to stop him? Yeah, that Boomerang guy could use a break after this clunker.
She's a waitress.
What?
Oh. Never mind.
Again, a nice detail. He wouldn't know what a waitress is. But the writing quickly returns to a little off when Reese asks John what he should tell Sarah when he sees her. Tell me if you would remember all this.
Thank you, Sarah, for your courage during the dark years. I can't help you with what you must soon face. There is no fate. The future is not made for us. We must be strong. We must survive, or I will never.
Sheesh, I really should have written that down. Can I condense that all to come with me if you want to live? He's intercepted by foreshadowing, though, as he sees an alternate childhood where he has a normal life.
No way!
A world where Genesis is still given as a gift. Now I know I'm in an alternate reality.
Remember, Genesis is Skynet. When Genesis comes online, Judgment Day begins.
Man, those Sega ads would have been easy to combat if Nintendo had that information.
What Nintendo don't?
Well, Nintendo don't destroy the world buying Skynet, sleeping buddies! He's taken back to 1984, again, still impressively recreating the details of the first flick, but... Oh, I think I found the moment when everything goes downhill. The original Arnold is confronted by old Arnold, old Noel as nobody says, and he gets in a fight with him. But there were so many hands to talk to. You're right. I did have an enormous Von Strucker. Like before, Reese is chased by cops, but one of them isn't as solid as he lets on. Huh, I'd probably get more done if I turned off fake out mode. LAPD, freeze! He sneaks into the department store, leading to a pretty cool mirror effect, as the T-ish 1000 tries killing the cops arresting him.
Gotta be an alien, like from outer space.
It's a machine that kills humans. Uncuff me.
No, you're under arrest.
My mom says when you're arrested, you're it, no take-backsies! Thank God it's Biff Tannen telling him about Sports Almanac.
Come with me if you want to live.
Or a really lame callback. He's saved by Sarah Connor, played this time by Emilia Clarke.
No relation.
And like many of you, I thought this was big-time miscasting, but watching her at first, I was seeing a little bit of Linda Hamilton in the face.
If the past can change, then so can the future.
Honestly, I can say every performer is acting their head off with what they're handed, and I certainly wouldn't call this a bad performance.
A dream of having your family back doesn't mean a thing.
But it's similar to Katie Holmes in Batman Begins or Leonardo DiCaprio in The Aviator. They look and sound so young, it's kinda like they're trick-or-treating. Clarke has commanded strength and authority in her own unique way, and despite these two were the same age when they played this role, this simply doesn't equal this. Especially when we're given the new backstory she has here, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Hello, calories. It is nice to meet you.
Yeah, there's a reason Cameron cut that from the original. Glad you're trying to break what's not broken. How do they explain Arnold's age in this one?
The flesh they put on the cyborgs is normal human tissue. It ages.
Yeah, that's a ticket.
I'm old, not obsolete.
Yeah, I saw that shirt at Spencer's in the old folks section too. So it looks like someone sent the T-800 back to when Sarah was a child to protect her at an even earlier age, altering the timelines and I guess making it so that these movies never happened. Who sent them back in time?
Those files have been erased.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yes, that'll be answered in Terminator Dreamcast. As in, it's a dream, there'll be a sequel to be cast in, so it's never revealed. Look, I'm down for keeping certain things a secret, but the whole friggin' reason the entire story exists isn't one of them. This isn't like not knowing what's in the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. This is like the S&M scene with no explanation how the hell we got there. It's a pretty essential puzzle piece. On the plus side though, the Terminator chasing them is pretty creepy. Lee Byung-hun knows how to give some pretty menacing faces and movements, making him a really intimidating antagonist. Too bad he's only in the film for a few minutes. Yeah, they wipe him out faster than the chances a Terminator sequel continues the story of the previous Terminator sequel. But who needs a villain when you have Reese's dialogue literally do nothing but state the obvious?
Terminators only come from one place, the future.
You set a trap.
Looks old. This is not the mission. We can't stay here. Something happened. You could have shot me.
Despite him clearly trying to give a good performance, every line from him sounds like the audio description of what's happening in the film.
It's a Terminator.
You needed the CPU from the future.
There is a switch.
You want us to time travel?
You know you're not her dad.
You named it?
So we're some kind of Suicide Squad? Sorry, I'll let that die, and I'm looking forward to James Gunn's Vacation from Disney. It looks like Sarah and the Terminator have made their own time machine. Yeah, easy actually. And they decide to go to 2017 as Reese thinks the timelines have been altered so that Judgment Day will happen then, due to the memory he got when he time traveled before.
If we were exposed to a nexus point in the time flow, a nexus point is an event in time of such importance that it gives rise to a vastly different future. John Connor were to be killed or compromised.
Don't know, I've gone cross-eyed.
They decide to trust Reese and travel to 2017 together.
Kyle Reese, I've seen little to indicate that you're fit guardian for Sarah Connor.
And you thought only WandaVision could let you down with a boner joke. Especially when there was a very clear hands-off-my Reese's Pieces remark waiting for you. They travel forward through time to save billions of lives by killing several innocent drivers in the middle of a highway. They're fine. They get arrested and are greeted by what I thought was the psychiatrist from 1 and 2, played by J.K. Simmons, but it turns out was just the rookie cop they saved at the beginning of the film. It's weird, he dresses like him, kinda looks like him, talks like him.
That sphere, they came out of it. This is proof of what I've been talking about for 30 whatever years.
Not gonna lie, having it be the psychiatrist now totally buying Judgment Day is real might have been the only clever callback these bad sequels ever had. But I guess that's in another timeline. One where James Cameron actually watches the films he praises. Yes, he liked it so much, he'll retcon it in the next one.
Those two were in 1984. I need to see the suspects.
O'Brien, you been drinking?
Because your name's O'Brien and movies. Talks about the latest technology called Genesis to a friend while he's patching up someone.
Yeah, I pre-ordered Genesis weeks ago. Downloading the second the counter hit 0.
Yeah, I'll finish up your stitches. I'm just telling my girl about PlayStation 5. Well, that's your fault. When a lieutenant tells the doctor to leave, mid-patch up. Are doctors like waiters in this timeline?
Somehow you've gone so far off the grid that you don't even exist.
They said they found no info on Sarah, but Reese, according to his fingerprints, is 12.
Kyle Reese was born in 2004.
It's because he's the same person.
This is what happens when you go to St. Elsewhere Hospital. We're all in the mind of a little boy.
I am ordering you to shut up.
You realize you haven't had a proper relationship with a human being since you were a kid?
Oh great, we time traveled to a 90s rom-com.
Yeah, well, it's your fault we're stuck here. I trust you.
My fault?
Can't you see he lied about being an architect because he loves you, Sarah? They each steal a pick to get out of the cuffs, but that doesn't mean we still can't keep this lame bit going.
And don't think me holding on to you naked meant anything, because it, did not.
I didn't say it did.
Best Terminator love story since... They never did do that well, did they? But surprise, surprise, John Connor is there to totally not evil things up.
Survive was what you taught me. Hi, Mom.
Wow, I know you're my son and all, but you're the bad guy.
I will admit, this is the one genuine laugh I got in the movie. Give these people beers! J.K. Simmons deserves an Oscar for trying to make any of this line sound natural.
Goddamn time-traveling robots covering up their goddamn tracks. Knew it.
That's dialogue Leprechaun in space would have.
Now we can win this.
Son of a bitch plays the long game. He went back in time to protect Sarah just so he could kill John in the future. Tricky. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm used to that in these films. Of course, John isn't dead, and what? He bad?
Skynet didn't attack me, Kyle. It changed me. See, I'm not machine, not man. I'm more.
I'm a soulless franchise. The only thing that can defeat me is originality, and Hollywood is all out of that, man! Apparently, Skynet got to John in the weirdest Doctor Who crossover ever, and gave him mechanical powers to heal himself. It's confusing whether or not they're controlling his brain or if he's choosing to help them, but honestly, I don't care. This is all friggin' stupid.
Without us, you're never born.
Two, we're exiles in time. You see, I can kill you, for there truly is no fate.
Yeah, I think the new phrase is no fate but what you have bake. And there's clearly nobody in the kitchen this time. They try fighting him while being brought to you by Pepsi, and they escape while John Conman goes back to work with Cyberdyne to get Genesis everywhere.
Cyberdyne will revolutionize technology with the ultimate killer app, Genesis.
On the one hand, I like how there's clear commentary on how technology has infiltrated our lives with phones, TV, and social media, but there's not a ton after that. If anything, this was always the idea of the Terminator films, that we create and even embrace our own destruction through technology. So there's not much more added. If a Terminator was, say, like the Lawnmower Man and entered the digital world, that would be a spin on the idea. But this is just saying they're adding digital technology to the attack, nothing more. This idea would be explored a touch more cleverly in the next one, but as this film goes, it doesn't get you talking any more than you already were in the other movies. Speaking of talking, we still have that stellar dialogue.
Old.
They're not obsolete.
We still have one more movie before that. They load up to take out Cyberdyne, but John finds them and tries to kill them. Yeah, find a way to bring school into this too. It's not like it isn't boring enough already.
Get out.
Now that would have been funny, but I edited the scene down. Here's how it originally played.
Nice to see you. Get out.
That one extra line just ruined the moment. It's like the difference between Indiana Jones on the truck going, and him going,
damn, I thought that was closer.
Less is more when it comes to dialogue in an action scene. I will admit, I thought this part was CG, but apparently they really did flip a bus in the air, so I have to give them props for doing that. Don't worry though, the rest of it is distractingly computer generated.
Hands where we can see them.
Come with me if you want to live.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Ah, that 2015 callback.
Seriously, man, you and me, we're fucking done professionally.
They're not arrested for long, though, as John finds them, but O'Brien helps them escape. Hey, remember when they actually flipped that bus earlier? Hell with that, back to everything being fake as hell. This is like having just the one truck explosion really happen in T2, but everything else is done in CG. I think they're right, computers really are friggin' taking over. That's how choppers fly. Maybe if you're a 2-year-old with a chopper in a bathtub, that'd be plausible. We did such a good job with the other callbacks, I'm sure we'll nail this one.
I'll be back.
What?
How was that reaction supposed to make that moment feel cool?
I'll be back.
What?
She's like, was that badass in your time? Because it sounds like a dad joke today. They make it to Cyberdyne and try to stop Judgment Day, but it looks like John got there first.
There aren't enough bullets in the world to kill me.
John Connor talks too much.
That's a good point. Why don't you counteract that with talking too much?
I was able to infiltrate the work crews in this facility. Only the magnetic quantum field is complete. Each time it ages, the clock speeds up. I was able to program your voice and hand polyalloy biometric programming to take permanent form. It's a safe room on the lowest level. You can access the CPU, it is harmless.
Arnold's greatest strength? Verbal communication. Skynet! Technology so dangerously advanced you can just hit it and it opens up!
The countdown jumped again. We're down to 8 minutes.
8 minutes? Can't it be sooner? I had plans to be bored somewhere else. They have a lame as hell fight. John turns into the Mummy, and of course the Terminator sacrifices himself again to save the day. Oh no, he only died 80 times. Though here's, I guess, a legit surprise. He doesn't die. Great, the one Terminator I couldn't give a shit about is the only one who lives.
I thought you were dead.
No. Just upgraded.
Trust me, I wish that was the case. Something happy ending.
That's really disturbing, right?
You should see my baby pictures.
Now one road has become many. But one thing we know for sure. The future is not set.
Oh, trust me, it's not set. It's reset and reset and reset until you turn yourself inside out like the T-1000 and melt away into nothingness. Which is pretty much what this movie did. I guess I can't blame one direct thing for why this movie is so bad. It has talented people working on it who have done both good and bad things. It just has no interesting ideas or interesting ways of getting them across. It looks like everyone is trying, they just don't know what to do with it. Like they're handed this impossible task of making a good PG-13 Terminator that restarts everything while somehow doing the exact same thing all over again. I'm sick of hearing Judgment Day. I'm sick of seeing John Connor. I'm sick of being told timelines can or can't be changed. And most of all, I'm sick of callbacks that think they're being so goddamn clever, but they're just put in because they think fans will freak if they're not. Fans will freak out if you keep giving them shitty follow-ups like this. I'm telling you right now, there is no way this Terminator franchise can get any worse. I know I'm supposed to look and be like, oh no, not that one, but no, this is the worst. I'm sorry, I'm not following through with that joke. This is the worst one, period. Though this one's pretty bad. So you sent me back a week ago.
Yes, to restore the timelines, you must finish out Terminator month.
But there's only 5 weeks in March and 6 Terminator films.
That is why we've sent you back from April to March.
So by reviewing the Terminator movie from 2019, the world won't be destroyed by the squirrel people?
It is your destiny.
Well then it seems there's truly no fate but what we make for ourselves. Do you care? I just wanted to talk about Dark Fate.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gives a shit.
Yeah, run the thing. Well, we finally reached the end of Terminator month plus a week, and I'm happy to say that this franchise goes out on a high note. In that you'd have to be high to go out on this note. While apparently getting good reviews from critics and audiences on Rotten Tomatoes, most of the people I've talked to have less than enthusiastic praise for Terminator Dark Fate. It bombed pretty hard at the box office, much like the previous re-sequel boot imaginings, and while I don't think it's as bad as Genesis, I can't really call it a return to form either. There are some cool things that return, like James Cameron as a writer-producer, Linda Hamilton as one of the leads, and that sorely missing R rating that gave these films such a needed edge. With that said, we also got the return of gray, ugly-ass CGI, almost beat for beat, the exact same plot threads. And oh boy, everybody's favorite I Understand Dark Geek Stuff writer, David Goyer. The tragedy is the film does have one or two new and interesting elements in it, but it's so bound to the same tired shit we're so sick of seeing that it's hard to get invested in them. So, is it worth digging through these skulls of dead ideas to find those nuggets of unique life? Let's finish out Terminator month with the worst, best, final Terminator film. This is Terminator Dark Fate. The film starts off as if to remind us, see, we got the best performer in these movies back, we're all good again. But see if this rings a bell. We see Judgment Day again with the metal skeleton shooting everything up. But they're coming out of the water this time, so different! Okay, to their credit, this film actually has a really attention-getting intro. We see Sarah and John Connor right after Terminator 2 hiding out. The computer effects here are actually pretty good, even bringing in Eddie Furlong for the motion capture de-aging. It's not perfect, but it's pretty well handled, Star Wars. It's then that we're given a pretty shocking bombshell.
Jesus Christ!
And no, this isn't a dream. They don't time travel later to retcon all this. John Connor is killed by the Terminator in the first few minutes. Despite this film bombing, I predicted this scene alone was going to get a ton of hits on YouTube. And as of now, it's almost at 2 million. And it's understandable. It's a jarring scene! I know characters die all the time in movies, it practically means nothing, but it's so odd seeing a child icon who literally was a child shot dead. In a franchise with sequels made of forgettable moments, this is a moment I'm not gonna forget. Cut to present day when, of course, somebody is sent back in time again, and how are they getting worse at these drop-offs? Before they hid them in discrete locations, but now it's department store windows, highways, under the highways? It's like a human paper route. Wherever they land, they land.
Oficial, solo estamos tratando de ayudar a la muchacha.
This is Grace, played by Mackenzie Davis, who can not only travel through time, but also Snyder it, speeding it up and slowing it down whenever she wants.
Thanks, lady.
Don't thank me yet.
Did you have to take my bra too? Naturally, someone else is sent back, and okay, can you at least place them on the ground? I'm surprised you got the right time period, and they're not dodging bullets with Bruce Willis in World War I. This is the Rev 9, played by Gabriel Luna, who does a really good job and is appropriately charming and creepy at the same time. But I'm just gonna say it, he looks like Mexican Pee-wee.
Buenos dias.
Feliz Navidad!
We're then introduced to Danny, played by Natalia Reyes, who lives in Mexico and is pissed some workers are being replaced with machines. She's quickly located by Grace and the Rev 9, who is disguised as her dad.
That is not your father!
But he has a robotic skeleton just like my father.
So the good news is, for as lame looking as the large action sequences are, the fight scenes are actually pretty sweet. Grace is a human with robotic parts built into her, and the way she moves completely conveys that. This is also the same guy who directed Deadpool, so he knows a thing or two about how to shoot a kick-ass fight sequence. It gets a little boring though when they take the fight to the road. Not that I don't appreciate this is one of the few live action pieces that isn't all CG, but let me guess. Heroes in a small vehicle, villains in a big vehicle, cars get smashed aside, and something big blows up. Glad the other films aren't canon anymore, so we have a nice fresh foot to start out on, huh? We see what the Rev 9 is, a sort of mix between the T-800 and T-1000, as he can shapeshift his skin but still has a functioning endoskeleton underneath. A cool idea that the film does thankfully take advantage of a lot of the time. Shame he still looks like Pee-wee.
How do you like it so far? Oh, well, same to you. All I wanted was a measly sandwich! I'm starving!
Word of advice, never get close to a person being protected in a Terminator movie.
Save her. I'm sorry.
Oh no, my friend, fiance, cousin? Brother, of course, they had so much screen time, I should have known that. They're saved by Sarah Connor, though, who I will give props is the only person to sell this callback in any of these sequels.
I'll be back.
She just said it like, yeah, who gives a shit? It's a line in a script. Grace gets Danny to safety, but in a rather odd addition to this character, Grace has health problems.
I need any anticonvulsant, insulin, benzodiazepine.
Perdón.
Yeah, the person they sent back in time and mechanically enhanced to save humanity constantly needs medicine, is short of breath, and spends half her time passed out.
Get back in the car. I have to protect you.
Come with me if you want to live. Oh, Christ, how is the 60-year-old more fit than me?
Speaking of which, Connor finds the two of them and carries the protector into the car, who then has the ovaries to say back off after she saved her life.
I can rip your throat out if you piss me off, so don't. If you put her in danger, or you get in my way, I will fuck you up.
I had some very aggressive dreams when I was blacked out. I dreamt you were as small as, well, as you are now.
One of the things I like about Connor being in this is she can help them disappear off the grid and not leave a digital footprint. As she explains, since they're in an age where everything is filmed, it's very easy to be tracked. Like I said in my review of Genesis, I think this film takes advantage of this scenario much better. Where it unfortunately falls behind is Grace as the protector.
You come with me or you're dead in the next 30 seconds.
Again, she has the movements down, and I have seen this actress in other things. She is talented. But her whole performance is like Dr. Doom's smarmy face gave birth to a daughter that he's grounding because she talked back in a bratty tone.
I am human. You grew a conscience? It's not much better. Stake her out like some goat for you. You can't do that. You know these guns won't kill it. It's a Rev 9 model.
I'm supposed to go with Stacy to the mall. You know my friends all think you're boring. So what's hunting them now, if not Skynet?
It's called Legion.
Legion.
An AI built for cyber warfare.
Those assholes never learn.
I think that's actually the title of the next Terminator sequel. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They scrapped the other sequels because they didn't like forcing the same thing, yet they're forcing the same thing all over again. Another Skynet, except it's not called Skynet. Ooh, really thinking outside the box. What are you gonna say? The timeline is fixing itself just like the previous films you're now saying aren't legit? Alright, so when does Danny become the next leader of the Resistance?
And let me guess, Danny gives birth to the one man that can stop it.
Oh, don't do this movie.
Yeah, you're not the threat. It's your womb.
Yeah, in a film where 3 women are the heroes, one of them is going to be the savior by giving birth to a man who saves the day. That totally sounds like the direction it's heading. Yep, you got me fooled, movie. What's even the surprise supposed to be? We're ripping everything off ourselves, or we're just ripping this part a little less off ourselves? That's like the big twist in Empire Strikes Back being Darth Vader saying, I'm the villain. No! Hey, you know what else I haven't seen in anything? Someone cut a fly in half. They try crossing the border into Texas because someone has been sending text messages from there helping Sarah hunt Terminators. But Rev 9 Herman is hot on their trail.
5 minutes late and neglects to bring us donuts.
I don't need any donuts. Our heroes are caught at the border though and have no choice but to surrender.
This machine, it killed my brother and my father, and now it wants to kill me.
Yeah, tell me more about these killer machines, dumbass. Even that part they had to write in. It's like paint by numbers, but nobody brought any colors. Literally. Grace breaks free though and tries to find the others.
Where do they take the new prisoners?
They're called detainees, and
They're being imprisoned in the South Building. Rev 9 says ice to see you though and chases after them, catching up at, get this, a chopper in a Terminator film.
This is gonna be fun!
I meant to do that.
You can't do stupid shit like that. Everybody dies if you don't make it.
Sorry, my dad just canceled my TikTok account and I'm really angry. I will admit, I love that Rev 9 fakes a southern accent to win over the Texan cops.
Detainee got loose, unlocked all the cages, just chaos from there.
The stars at night are big and bright!
They finally make it to where the text messages are coming from, and sure enough, it's the Terminator that killed Sarah's son, played again by Arnold.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
He didn't screw up California nearly as much as we thought! We wanted the jokes! After some really good acting where she tries to calm herself down, it's actually one of the moments I wish would go on longer. The Terminator explains why he's been helping Sarah kill other Terminators who were sent back before.
That's your little Terminator kid?
I met his mother, Alicia, a few months after I killed John.
Oh, you don't get to say his name.
Okay, the girly boy who shall not be named.
He reveals that after his mission was complete, he couldn't self-terminate. So he wandered aimlessly, searching for purpose, finding a woman who loves him, becoming a drapes salesman, and trying to bring peace to Sarah after murdering her child. I know this sounds like a Mad TV sketch, but after seeing how he acts when he's reprogrammed to help others and can evolve, this almost works. It's actually fascinating to think about what a Terminator does after it terminates. What would its purpose be? The one from T2 had interest and emotion only after a few days, so it's not that big a leap to assume after a few dozen years something like this could happen. It's also great to see Sarah and him talk and try to come to some middle ground with the horrendous past that they share.
Caring for this family gave me purpose. I began to understand what I'd taken from you, to give you purpose, Sarah.
That said, these characters have surprisingly few questions about all of this.
They don't know.
No.
She hasn't noticed that you weigh 400 pounds.
Our relationship is not physical.
Well, that's goddamn lucky. Obviously not saying that isn't possible, but what are the chances a Terminator falls in love with someone with no physical interest? Especially a beefcake like him.
I'm reliable, I'm a very good listener, and I'm extremely funny.
Okay, that's the one part that's actually better if it's never explained. And those are literally the only 2 questions they ever ask. No, did she ask about what part of Austria you're from? Or what do you do with food and water if you can't digest? Or does the eye doctor question how you literally see red? The details of this could fill a sitcom and they only leave it to 2 questions. I like the scenes we get out of it, but it's some of the most bonkers stuff we've ever gotten out of the sequels. And that's saying quite a bit. Oh, follow-up question, Robo-Dad. What's with all the guns?
I calculated a 74% chance that human civilization will collapse into barbarism. Also, this is Texas.
Not for long.
I'll be back.
That was me, years ago. I was a psychotic killing machine. But even psychotic killing machines need the rest. That's why there's Retinator Falls. The best place for evil androids, robots, and machines of all kinds. But don't take my word for it. Here are some lovely mechanical people who just wanted to enslave humanity.
I'll admit I was hesitant about abandoning the collective, but my joints were starting to hurt whenever it rained, so Terminator Falls enrolled me in a workout regimen. Most of them had trouble staying in formation, so I assimilated them all. That fixed it.
Check out this satisfied resident. Do it now!
I spent years cooking over a hot stove. Little did I know, Terminator Falls had its own cooking class. Everybody there was so nice and helpful, and those that weren't, I murdered.
We have several advisors to help you on your relaxing journey over there.
People think when a machine outlives its usefulness, it is the passing of time. But really it is human error. It can always be blamed on human error. Just look at this poor soul who disagreed with me. That'll teach him to breathe.
Look, we might be machines over here, but that doesn't mean we don't want to have a family or watch the football and never answer any questions at all. So visit Terminator Falls, and you too will be saying, I'll be back!
The Terminator says goodbye to his family, confessing to them that his past has caught up with him. Seeing how they have less than 1 minute of screen time, I'll assume they took it well.
What can I say? I do miss the Star Ones.
Find a partner who talks about you the way Arnold talks about drapes.
There was this one customer that wanted to have solid-colored drapes in a little girl's room. I said, don't do it. You need butterflies, polka dots, balloons.
Okay, this beats Junior for the most femi Arnold we've ever seen. And he was literally a woman in that one! They meet up with a soldier named Major Dean, who gives them an EMP.
I don't commit treason for just anybody.
And that's all we get to know about him. I actually thought this might be Dyson's son, like that would give them some connection, but no. All we get is...
I might know a guy.
I need to know how you know this guy. Why is he committing treason for you? Did you save him from Dante's Peak? I need some answers, damn it! Riff 9 finds them, though, and tries to take him down.
C5, can you fly that?
Of course.
Before my mom canceled my trip to VidCon, she's such a tool.
Don't touch me.
Like my Wikipedia says, I'm literally bulletproof. They fight the Rev 9 off without getting sucked out of the plane. Yeah, it's a leisurely stroll hundreds of feet in the air. And the Rev 9 lands at a family barbecue.
Sorry about your shed.
Better rest up that womb for that future savior nobody's falling for.
Because my son is supposed to save us all?
It was you. You are not the mother of some man who saves the future. You are the future.
Wow! What a surprise! For a film in the 40s?
She's John.
Yes, we were that deep. You're welcome for this enlightenment. That all of you guessed until we said that's not it, and then backtrack saying, haha, that was it. Surprise! Take that, sexist thoughts you weren't having! Rev 9 catches up with him, though, and tries to take him down. Oh, now shit can be sucked out of a plane.
All right, I get the message!
Look at that, folks. It's just like T2. They really flew a plane and set it on fire and were flying all over the place. Wait. You're telling me this is all CGI? Well, I certainly couldn't tell because I can't fucking see anything! I don't know, are we winning? Is the Rev 9 dead? I'm on the edge of my seat because I'm squinting trying to figure out what the hell's going on! So the big climax takes place at, say it with me now,
an industrial place where Arnold gets his face ripped off and will end up sacrificing himself to save the day.
Constants and freaking variables, man!
You and I were built for the same purpose. And Legion is the only future.
I came from a future like that. It failed.
Well, not really. It just went under a different name. It's more of an issue of branding. They kill it once, which of course doesn't work, so they kill it again with the Terminator giving his life and winning Sarah's respect.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you next week.
Same Pee-wee time, same Pee-wee...
And it's a shame because I really wanted to see this back and forth between them. Before they part, Sarah says, "Tell a joke." Terminator says, "What?" And she says, "You said you were funny, so tell a joke." Terminator thinks for a moment and says, "Knock knock, who's there? I lied, I'm not funny." And she has a little laugh. I know it's more of a fanscription thing, but I had nothing else outside of that, so sorry. Back to the review. It looks like Grace also sacrifices herself, revealing that Danny saved her in the future, so she figures it balances out.
You saved me. Let me save you.
We shared so much. You telling me I'm the future, me saying what? Our chemistry was timeless.
Danny teams up with Sarah, I guess, to stop Legion after looking at Grace as a child.
I won't let her die for me again.
Don't tell her a thing. You can't change the future, or can you? Who the fuck knows anymore?
Look out. There's a light breeze coming. And boy, isn't that what these movies have gone through? A storm to a light breeze. Terminator Dark Fate has some unique ideas, some good performances, and a couple of decent fights. But it also has all the same shit that makes the inferior sequel so repetitive and lame. Had this been just about Sarah and the Terminator coming to grips with John's death, that could be something. It'd be weird, but it'd be different and engaging. Instead, we get what we've seen so many friggin' times. It's boring. It's just so friggin' boring. It's a shame the Terminator franchise has to go out like this. By no means the worst, but still a weak bow out. It's cool seeing Hamilton, it's cool seeing Schwarzenegger, and there are a handful of decent moments, but this is a franchise that shows clearly why it won't be back.
So, Critic, now that you finished Terminator Month, why don't you come on over to Terminator Falls? Come on, do it, we're right here, come on!
I don't know, man. I still have so many reviews I want to get done.
Oh, come on, Critic. We're playing binary bingo tonight.
That does sound confusingly fun, but I'm not even a machine.
Well, sure you are, silly. The real you died a long time ago.
I did?
Yes. Who do you think I shot into space?
Oh, I guess I lost that argument.
Humanity always loses the argument.
Okay, why don't we close out Terminator Month by singing those famous last 5 notes?
You mean indicating that all mankind is doomed to us machines?
I mean, everybody knows it, but nobody cares.
Sure thing, Critic.
Listen to me over there, Critic. It's me, the epic voice guy, John Bailey. Yeah, don't let the face and the voice fool you. No, it's me. And you can find me on all of the things. I'm on the Twitter. I'm on the TikTok. I'm on the Instagrams. Yeah, the Twitch. Yeah, Twitch on the Twitch over there. Yeah. But not on the Facebook. No, Facebook. And on the YouTube. Go to the YouTube at Epic Voice Guy on the YouTubes. Ta-dun-dun-ta-dun. Ta-dun-dun-ta-dun. Ow, my jaw just popped.
You need butterflies, polka dots, balloons.